Agniaeth varen in amore veniu, esponiat helaeth on, o arlaeth Diu. Mein William Schuchasar, mein Trefnisi Adene, Kavlanat Kubolos, Oigamarif, Shawodraith Vaithe Bil, Sida Desau, mein Tania, my loud, and Godidra, Troy Bob, Helen, Toy the Bleam, Tervas, Coilo, Hill, Der Chavin Gason, my Dernas in Dieu, Ethwa Shuch Dir Deusith, Anolai Gwir, Edras och moja mai, an treven glir, he thou I throw on maith, an vian or schlieben, bil san jord gav your hein, tidra wir a In the build-up to Holy Week, we have this crescendo in the dysfunctional rapport between the Pharisees and the Lord himself. But we note that there is always an unchanging and unperturbed dignity in the person of our Lord. He does not pull back. He has been using expressions like, "You will know that I am." And the Jews perceive the undertones, and here they have been picking up stones to stone him for blasphemy. The Lord answers calmly and with that divine majesty which never leaves him. Indeed, next week we will see how at one point, when even the Roman soldiers come, when he says, "I am he," they fall to the ground. It would seem that they were struck by something supernatural which came from his person. This is the person that we have every time we consecrate. This is the presence that comes, greater than ourselves, calm and serene, might and power, wisdom and providence. Indeed, the old hymn sung at the beginning of this Holy Mass was a Welsh hymn which sings the majesty of God in the form of wisdom and providence which takes care of us and redeems us, the ancient wisdom of the skies. It all lies in his hands. And the passion that we will undergo, as it were, on this day, beginning with the compassion in antiquity of our Blessed Lady this Friday before Good Friday, is a passion that we can share in somewhat like our Blessed Lady, with the heart and the mind engaged step by step. Compassion, suffering with. We need not to lose the grace of this great week, Hebdomada Major, the great week which is about to dawn. If we spend it as other weeks, then the grace will pass over our heads and we will not enter into that drama, and only in entering into the depth of the pain will we feel the depth of glory on the third day. Shortcuts lead to short change, as it were, and if we see that happening much in our Western world, people wanting a quickie, even actually on the Easter Vigil. How many parishes now only have a glorified Sunday Mass on Saturday evening on the Vigil itself in broad daylight? It is a liturgical abuse, reversing all that Pius XII strived so hard to do, because it was already a nonsense from antiquity, unfortunately, got out of control that we had people celebrating this holy night at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Holy Saturday. In other words, that was a correct readjustment, but now we've lost it all again by the mentality of the quickie, the quickie, the quickie, lest the worst possible thing happen and people be delayed in church. How can we be delayed in church when the Lord did not hesitate to delay for 3 hours on Calvary and for all the excruciating pain that preceded it? It is a tragedy that he is crucified again by his own, or in too much of a hurry to get away. With regard to this element, there are things which happen also in Holy Week which have an effect, an impact on souls. Many vocations are actually born in retreat in Holy Week. E.g., the power of Holy Thursday is something else. Watching until midnight there at the altar of repose, many hear discreetly the still small voice. Perhaps you would like a share in my eternal priesthood. There is something different about the mystical compared with the pastoral and the humanly perfected programming, vocation, outreach, all human with a human effect, whereas the Lord is not short of vocations and grace, but he cannot get through to noisy souls, drawn by the immediate of the short change of which I spoke. With regard to this coming apart, we have it actually even in this Gospel itself. The Lord was not going to be lynched and put to death in a hurry. It was in that same divine providence that it should be the cross, the complete passion, in which the Lord died as King in control. He breathed his last, and yielded up the ghost. Now, what happened here is then he got out of that situation and went away, perhaps in a supernatural way, got out of their grasp. He went to that part where John had been baptizing, a desert part by the Jordan, and we notice this disposition of the Lord's humanity to come to the quiet part, and the quiet part also of the 24 hours. It is something that we need. I would just like to make one allusion. It's the fact that on our planet there are many spots where there is uncontaminated silence, but when we go there, we contaminate it. A hermitage need not have any noise, but nature too need not have any noise. But how many people go to a place and bring in that noise to which they are thoroughly addicted without being aware of it with them? It's all there in one's pocket. It is a grave misunderstanding of the nature of life to think that we have always to be somehow online and in communication. That gadget is contaminating our planet, is contaminating our soul, is contaminating our mental sphere, and the Lord is not noise which comes artificially at all. It is the Lord of silence that we seek, and if we cannot make space for him, we cannot expect him to give us the graces that we so quickly shovel aside for the immediate satisfaction of who's trying to get through and what is actually more interesting than that element of gratuity. There is in the interior life something akin to what the Lord was doing when he went into these silent places. He did not need to make that effort, but we do. And there is, on our part, necessity for a certain pruning, a certain avoiding, a certain filtering, a certain, simplifying. And in the full sense of that word, which means blending in one, simplex. It is that element of not having all our interior always going in different directions. And that means in practice that we limit the number of words coming in, and therefore the number of thoughts in our mind. For when we are genuinely in that mode of uncomplicated attention to the Lord in his thought pattern and word, coming through the page, coming through our prayer, coming through liturgy, then we are in that mode of contact with the quiet, which we cannot be in a continuity of what is going on all the time. We just cannot be in prayer mode if all the time we choose to let all these words come at us. It is a serious choice to put on a machine which gives us many words, because it all damages the mind. It damages the simplicity and the virginity of our soul. We cannot hear his voice across all these other words. So Holy Week, above all weeks, is a time when we need to eliminate superfluous words so that we may hear and feel and taste the still small voice of undiluted peace. Nos va pecha dir trist, dan bom rot jeding brio, a fui se o grod sin, an inig juvenil, do se no yo garot ananib, an inig on de eno evan inig on de Gramen pabilor, ien orad voinoim, arenu mui avamar, erioid agloid son, a clodam mauna parcharabri, vobith ien un hargnoid ni, vobith ien un Simplex. I have heard many words when sound was not, and pondered long when song was gently heard. I have revisited great lands, forgot, and smelt a person in a drifting word. I have rewalked a yesterday today, in having naught but thought upon the mind. And I have hidden face a little ray of thine beheld, when light was left behind. For, Master, all is lost, but this one last and first of all that matters, I have none, but one only, one small friend, too vast to leave room for another. I have one. I have thee, Lord, I have thee all, for I have grown to be but very small.